Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to talk to you a bit about cutting leather. I'm going to show you the pros and cons of some of the different tools that I use, as well as give you some of the recommendations that I wish I had when I was starting up leatherworking. So let's get started. So here I have an assortment of tools that a person might use to cut leather. I have two different kinds of like razor box knives. Very easy to swap out for different blades for them. Then here I have, it's a very inexpensive kind of like craft knife that you can like break the blades off of. These ones sharpen up pretty well with like a knife sharpener or a whetstone, and I use them quite a bit in foam smithing as well. Then here I have just some regular crafting scissors. These are my leather shears, and this is a rotary cutter. So I'm going to start off first and foremost with the rotary cutter. This is a pretty good tool for cutting leather. You can get curves and straight lines, even on quite thick leather. Sometimes your amount of control isn't exactly necessarily what you would want it to be, but it definitely does get the job done. It's difficult to get much tighter of a curve than this, just because of the nature of the machine. But I mean, use it for what you have, in mind, and especially if you're cutting straight lines, it comes in very handy. Now, also, sometimes I have difficulty stopping and starting a line with the rotary cutter, and that could just because I'm not particularly very good with them. But I'll be cutting along. And let's say I stop to reposition my piece. You want to make sure that you get your lines lined up very evenly, because otherwise you might end up with, this one came up pretty well, but this is where I had stopped and started before. So you'll definitely want to get some practice in with them, and make sure to get a good one. I don't like how on this one it's all kind of wobbly. I don't know if I can tighten it down, or yeah, it looks like, but going around those curves really loosens it up. So if you're going to get one, get a higher quality one than this one. I'll have links down in the video description below of my better quality rotary cutter that I could not find for doing this tutorial. Now, next up are scissors. These are just regular scissors that I got at like Walmart or something. And here you can see on a thinner leather, they do okay, both for snipping through it as well as cutting a straight line, straight-ish line, just making like little strips, or if you want to trim something down. Now this is putting quite a bit of stress on my hand. Like, that was not easy. I don't know if you can see where it was biting into my knuckle and my thumb, but even with it shaping, this is, but these are Fiskars razor-edged scissors. I still keep them on hand for if I just need to do, I use them in paper and in sewing, and I mean all kinds of stuff. I am not like one of the people who's very strictly, oh, these scissors are very specifically just for this. I do have some that are just for fabric, but these are my multi-purpose, if I have it on hand, scissors. Now, these same scissors on thick leather, though, are very difficult to work with. And I feel like if you're battling and struggling with a piece, your hand's going to get very tired very quickly. It's going to put a lot more stress on you as a creator than what you necessarily need to, because you just saw me cut through it with those ones. Now these ones are leather shears. They're Craft Tool brand. Still functioning in smaller cuts, but it's taking a lot less effort. And it cut it off very nice. Cuts through that like it's paper. Like, I mean, slightly more effort with my hand, so. And then if I were trying to cut a curve even out of a thick piece of leather, Nice, even cut. Whereas with these scissors, and this is really hard. So again, these will do the job. You can see it's getting some pinching here on the bottom where it was having, whereas on the other one, it does not do that. But a lot of it is gauge it with your own hand. You know, how does it feel for you to be cutting it? And also, these are not all of or the only tools that you can use for leather, you know, cutting leather, but these are just some of them that I have on hand, and I wanted to present to you some of the pros and cons of different ones. Scissors definitely wear my hand out, but sometimes they're perfect for the job. Now, this is something that I do not recommend for cutting leather, mostly because the blade is quite thin. I mean, it cuts really well, but if I'm cutting thicker leather on a curve, I have a more difficult time with these ones because of their thinner blades. I've had them snap on me before. And so coming through, trying to get these cuts through. There we go. And so, I mean, still, if it's all you have, it'll work. Just be very wary and careful. You know, but you can still get in there. A little bit of unevenness. My preferred are the razor blades or the box knives. Now, this one is an older one, but you can see these, I've never broken one. Nice, crisp, clean cut. This is getting quite small, so I don't think I'm going to do another cut on it because I can't get my hand in there. With these ones, I like to go through and do a control line. And then I come through and I cut. And you can see, I mean, it puts a little bit of stress on my hand, but there's so much control with where the blade's going because it's not bending, it's not going anywhere. I also really like the shape of that sharper tip. It lets me get right in where I'm cutting, press, and go. And even with a very thick leather like this, it gets the job done. So you bring it out and you lock it. Still, it does good, I guess. But I don't know, I just too many times have these broken on me on their break lines. But again, it's really hard to beat. You can get like a pack of 3 of these for like $1. And then whenever it comes down to it, if I had to pick between this one and this one, I really like this one because it's very easy to put the blade away. Whereas with this one, you have to like kind of unscrew it, but you can store extra blades in the handle of that one. But I do almost all of my cutting with a knife like this. So that's that, you guys. These are just a couple of my favorite go-to tools for leather working, or specifically cutting leather. Do you have a favorite tool that you use to cut leather? Do you use one of those? They're like shaped like this and they're sharp all along the whole edge and you can like really slice through some leather with them. I've never gotten to use one of those. So would you recommend it? Do you have a favorite or least favorite tool? These are probably my least favorite. These are probably my favorite just because that's what I'm used to and that's what I like. But if you're looking for a go-to one, I'd recommend this because you can cut thick leather with it. You can cut thin leather with it. Maybe go with scissors if you want. Like, honestly, if you have the budget to invest in both initially, I'd go with both. There will be tools, links to all the tools and materials used down below in the video description. And if you have any questions, comments, or ideas, I would love to hear from you. I am limited by my own experience and my own, perception of leatherworking. So I love hearing from you guys and your background and your experience and your ideas, because it helps us all to learn. So, and I'm always looking to be like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. So if you enjoy my free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, please check me out on Patreon. Your pledges, even as little as $1, go towards the production of daily videos, as well as our artisan education efforts that we do at conventions, where we do free hands-on workshops and all sorts of things. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I do hope that this was helpful to you, at least in kind of getting you pointed in the right direction for getting into leatherworking, or if you're an established leatherworker, to give you a little different perspective. So thanks again, guys. Bye. Happy crafting.